Good morning, everybody.
Good
Happy Tuesday.
morning,
Happy
Facebook
Tuesday.
mamas. Facebook mamas. Hello, hello.
Hello. I was wondering about how people or what people do to protect themselves. We kind of just fall into these.
From strangers?
Well, no, not from strangers, not stranger danger. Nobody has strangers anymore. Nobody can go anywhere to be in front of strangers.
Drowning in the pool? What kind of protection?
Well,
Wear
just health
condoms?
protection in general. I
Just,
mean, yes,
I don't
drowning in
know.
the pool is important. We have to kind of watch that.
And
Not
and
stepping on thin ice.
and don't walk on thin ice and don't be snowmobiling on ice right now.
Yeah.
Wear condoms or use
Yeah.
dental dams.
Dental what?
Dental dams. Dental dams are a protective plastic sheath that you put over the vagina, perhaps, to protect yourself from oral sex on women. Sex 101 with Dina. This is just right on Health Canada website. Don't you know?
Okay, sorry.
This is the sex education that your children are receiving in schools, learning about
Wow. It's
glory
like,
holes and dental dams
yeah.
and female and male condoms. Yeah, it's very important stuff.
I'm way out of the loop. We'll talk to my grandkids, I guess. I don't know.
These are the great things that I talk about with the kids, and I'm like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Mom, please, really, we learned about this in grade 6." I'm like, "What
Grade
the?
6.
Are you? But are you kidding?" I guess
Wow.
just part of life. So
It's funny. I mean, I've never really been very close with my kids, but that's stuff that we just don't really talk about too much unless it's really serious. And they're like, "Yeah, mom, we know, mom." And they roll their eyes and they're like, "Okay, whatever, catch up, mom."
not
That was
exactly catch up, Mom,
2010.
as if you didn't know that.
Yeah,
Like, I didn't know that. That's not part of my sex education.
yeah, exactly.
I was on the road to hard knocks for my sex education. No,
Well, no,
basic.
no, we had it in school. It was important. It was vague and disturbing at times, but it was there.
Well, if we took our sex education from Bridgerton, we'd be
You still
so
on
naive.
Bridgerton, are
Oh,
you?
I've done it.
Oh, that
When
was
is
so good.
when is season 2? After
Oh,
COVID, probably. I don't know.
that's
But
the only hard thing about binging stuff like that, because then it's like, oh, now you got to wait like a year and a half before the next season comes in.
it's just so lighthearted. I might just watch it all over again. But
It
yes,
is cute. I mean, it's set in the 1800s or
early century, whatever.
early century, yeah, early 19th century, 18th century, no, 20th century, but or late 19th century. But it's really kind of cute with the way that it's almost up to date a little bit. At the same time, it's, I don't know. I just, yeah. If ever
Okay.
you've not watched Bridgerton yet, you have to watch it.
It's just so lighthearted.
It is.
So protection, continuing the protection from EMFs. Yes, get yourself
Oh, have you
device.
got yours? You usually have one on you, don't you?
It's beside my bed.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you work in bed too, right?
yes. Oh, I work in bed.
It's not kind of morning, is it? I mean, you take your
Didn't we just
laptop to bed.
didn't we just finish the new moon? We're moving into the next phase. Isn't it ovulation?
Oh,
Did we check our calendars? Have we looked at that? When are we ovulating? Come on,
oh, I have
girls.
to get my calendar out. I do have a cyclical calendar that I follow. It's when is the full moon? I'll look at the lunar cycle.
When is the lunar cycle? Girls, chime in here. Chime in here. Anyways, yeah, so it's interesting. It's so protection. There's so many things we need to protect ourselves against and against the onslaught of free radical damage and oxidation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's
That's
where
kind of,
we were going with that question. We were
yeah.
talking about
Well, oh, not only
free
that, I mean,
radicals.
age
Yeah.
and genetics too. I mean, we all have these genetics and predisposed kind of situations that we have no choice. I mean, we are all, in a very, very toxic world. And I was just wondering how people actually protect themselves against the onslaught of potential things coming up. I mean, it could be It could be something like an STD. Do people even say that anymore? Is it
They do.
STD? VD.
STDs.
There's an old word. Um,
I don't know.
and our kids even taught about AIDS like we were, because AIDS was so prevalent back in the day. We heard so much all the time. It was like the COVID of the late 90s, late 80s. And it was pretty bad. But it's still bad. But I mean, people are living a lot longer with it now too. So,
Okay, stop.
but yeah, I mean, the big ones: cancer, heart disease, diabetes.
The big ones, yeah.
How are people protecting themselves? This is what I would like to know. Like, are people taking the opportunity to learn and to really implement what they're learning too? And that's the other thing. I mean, we can learn all day long, but whether you implement it and really put it into practice and try to, get those new habits into your lives, one salad doesn't cut it, or one trip to the gym or one walk around the block doesn't cut it. It has to be like a lifelong situation. I just was wondering.
Well, I know for myself, I'm taking preventative steps. I've identified where my inflammation is and where things are not. That's what the premise of thermography is. That's what the premise of using tools like live blood or thermography, or even hair mineral analysis, or even looking at your IG, your inflammatory responses in blood work when you discuss that with your medical doctors. But once you have that information, what are you ready to do? I
Mhm.
believe you should be reducing inflammation via resetting your gut, detoxifying and supporting the function of your vital organs like your liver, your kidneys, your lymphatic system, and then being sure that even if you're taking supplements, that you're taking your omegas, your fish oils, whatever you choose, you're taking a good broad mineral supplement, vitamin supplement, and you're eating or getting into you either through Juice Plus or greens or, those types of things to make sure that you're getting enough whole food through the natural aspect of things. Now, myself, I've done DNA testing with Euphoria in that, and you can do it with 23andMe, and you can message me about how to actually get in and dig in a bit more deeper, even if I have my results. What else can I do? I love doing this. I just love digging in about it. There are companies out there that can create those things, AOR, but what it's identifying is letting you know what DNA deviants you have that can be changed or supported, especially for myself, for free radical damage and for oxidation. Those are my two biggies. I had a double whammy, one from my parents, and one both from both my parents, not just one, but from both, for that inability to utilize glutathione 100% and for the ability to stave off free radical and oxidation. So that's just my giddy up and go. Maybe for you, it's that heart disease, right? It's that more of that deviant or a SNP, um, that then that's more of a support for you. So where you need to be taking CoQ10, resveratrol, those types of supplements in more of a focus. But when you're talking free radical damage and you're talking about oxidation, it's about, what, yeah, go.
I was just going to say, for people that don't understand what free radical damage is or oxidation,
Okay.
just picture yourself or picture cutting an apple open and then just leaving it on the counter and it turns brown. That's oxidation. That's free radical damage. And that's what happens to our bodies on a regular basis through normal cellular metabolism, through exercise, through going through our toxic world, not too many of us are going on airplanes, but, if we go through airplanes, if we stand in front of the microwave, watching our food go around and around, all these different things, these toxic things that coming into our bodies, this really ups the whole free radical damage situation and normal aging process. So go.
That's okay. So I think it's amazing. Vitamin C, all sorts of
These
different
are the
food vegetables,
antioxidants.
the
Yeah.
antioxidants to help stave off these things. Glutathione helps in that process as well. I really like the naturality and the beautifulness, if that's such a word, beautifulness of astaxanthin. And that's the redness of salmon and the redness of fish or seashells, or not seashells, but crustaceans, things like that, that help get in behind and support you from the inside out in that aspect of things. So that's, I always love using in that. And there's many different herbs like cat's claw. There's even frankincense or boswellia, curcumin. These are all great things to reduce inflammation and to help that whole oxidation aspect. But again, that loving on the liver, I'm all about loving the liver support. So I mean, it's trying to keep things as simple as possible and being direct as possible. So
Yeah, I mean, going back 20 years, we didn't know this kind of stuff. I mean, I think now a lot of people, especially a lot of people that follow us, understand the premise, the fact that, you know, it's not all about, oh, we have to cut out fat, or we have to cut out sugar, or we should be on a grapefruit diet, or we should be on Atkins or keto, or even the Whole30, which is a really more of a recent one. It's not so much about that, but understanding what really works best for your body. And when we talk about antioxidants, and supporting the liver and different things like this, it's about taking in really incredible whole foods. It's taking in taking advantage of places that have wild blueberries in the season and picking as much as and eating them all through the winter, because you're going to get some incredible benefits from wild blueberries. Taking in where's my brain
yes,
going with this? But just
wild blueberries are incredible.
yeah, one of the best, and for people that living in northern Ontario, right in Sudbury area, we have an abundance. I don't know what it is about our soil. I know there's blueberries other places too, but I don't know. It just seems like we have an abundance of blueberries for the most part in our area, and this is something that I'm definitely going to be accessing this spring and really filling up my freezer. But I mean, it's not only just that. Antioxidants in them of themselves are a way to slow that aging process, slow that degenerative process, slow that counter that free radical damage as best we can, because it's always kind of like a seesaw thing. We don't want the free radicals to take over and do their job. We want to have the antioxidants coming in and to the rescue and really bringing a nice balance to things. I mean, we cannot stop aging. That's just part of the process of a human body, but we can really make the process a lot gentler. And some people, I think, when we talk about people that have really good genes and look really young when they're older or whatever, I have a feeling that they really actually are able to process these antioxidants a lot better, or they don't have as many free radicals running through their system. Because when we allow those free radicals and those toxins to take over, this is when we really get into that disease, degenerative disease situation too, because they take over. They make the body toxic. They make the body primed for the big guys to come in and go, okay, we're ready to go now, and expressing those cancer genes and expressing, all these different things in our bodies that are not what we want to happen. So always talking about, I was going to say something else too. Free radicals. I mean, like we do have the genetic predisposition, all of us do, that just happens because we are how many generations through, even in the new age. I mean, coming in from 120 years ago, we were into what, the third or fourth or fifth generation now, and we have taken in so many toxins from the 50s, even through DDT and all these other poisons and everything else that we didn't know anything about at the time, but we are still accepting those, not literally accepting them, but they're still in our system because we're not detoxing and allowing our bodies to process that stuff out. So this is where a lot of our testing comes in. I know a lot of people go and do this poo-pooing. I get a lot of flack a lot of times from people about the holistic therapies that we do, live blood analysis, hair mineral analysis, thermography. I haven't seen so much about thermography, but I know a lot of people do have questions, and they really wonder the validity about stuff that we do. And it's just an investigation tool for a lot of times. And because we know that we're toxic, literally, if you are out there seeking help, or if you are have not been able to have been given the answers from your doctor, and nobody can tell you what's wrong, and nobody can explain to you why you're feeling the way you do, and you come to somebody like myself or Dana and use the holistic therapies, you know, there's toxins in there, and it's just a matter of, you know, trying to investigate and get into that root cause, and then working that way up. And a lot of times it takes a lot of whole foods. It takes therapeutic stuff, a therapeutic diet. It takes you know, that was what it was, liver, supporting the liver. So how do you support the liver? It was through allowing the liver to just rest and relax. So taking out things that are very hard on the liver, gluten, sugar, dairy, red meats, and just allowing the liver to relax, you know, for a week to 10 days. That is sometimes all you need, but you have to do that consistently to allow the body to rest and rejuvenate and allow it to do the things that it needs to do, because it is an amazing healing machine. And I'm done talking.
No, please do.
You're like,
keep going.
Okay, Wendy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm all good with that. Knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. No, and you're right. You're right. It's about that, and it's even the things around that don't serve you, right? There's keeping all these things, so many different aspects of things that are just weighing you down, and you just got to be able to just get rid of this stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, really, it's a very holistic approach when we start looking at the energetic things as well, too, spiritual end of things, because we are community and spiritual beings. What doesn't matter which end of this, you know, spiritual philosophies you hold and live, we are all that way. So really coming to some sense of resolution with regards to that, I think resolution might be a good word, and an understanding about, you know, what your theories in life are, what your philosophies about
life in general,
and life and love and community and compassion and kindness and all these different things, and where you stand with a lot of that stuff. I know there at our core we are all good people, but sometimes, you know, it's a little bit harder to process that than others when we see a lot of the stuff that goes on in the world.
Yeah, I think that's a true statement. You know, there's a lot going on in the world, and we need to just take inventory and not allow that to cause undue stress for ourselves, because there's a lot of things we don't have control over, and our due diligence in things is to hold tight, do the best we can, don't judge.
No.
Please do not judge others. You are not walking in their shoes. And it just saddened me. James and I were reading over the news last night and this morning about different fines or different what's going on, and it's unfortunate, but we just keep doing our best and love everybody as they come and as they are, and who knows right or wrong. But what are we doing to protect ourselves? So prayer. For Christians, making sure you're putting on the armor of God, and praying and meditating, making sure your mind is full of that. And that was it. I was listening to my Outwitting the Devil yesterday when I was walking, right? So I'm now into I'm into chapter 6, or just finished chapter 5 into chapter 6, and amazing, great stuff about outwitting the devil, and it's so relevant into today, right? It's that fear, right? Don't fear, and fill your mind with goodness, and don't leave it empty. Don't think of lustful things or fearful things. And that is so relevant in today's society, is that we always want to get more, have better. What do I need? And then the lusting after, what the Joneses have, and or different things, and idols, right? And wanting to look like, whomever. I want to say Beyonce, but why?
We're so old.
We're so old. But it's interesting in that aspect of things. And as we're trying to clear out those things that are not worthy, or protect ourselves, it's so important to protect our mind as much. So filling it up with good things, education, fruitfulness, or reading books is a great way to keep ourselves busy and from that straying of the mind, right? So, and that's what in the Outwitting the Devil, his interview with the devil, that was one of his key ways to capture 90% of the world's attention, is to allow them to stray, allow them to meander and not stay focused on the task at hand, or task that's before us, and not doing a good job, or not staying to task. And it's interesting. So, if you're going to take the vitamins, take the vitamins. If you're going to work out, work out. If you're going to read a book, but don't be like, and this is why it's been so important for me this week to be time blocking myself, and to be making sure I'm staying on track, and not putting a bazillion things on my list. It's like, doing ABC, and then staying open to what I can do, right? So I think it'll be a really great discussion tomorrow night with our book study group about the next 2 chapters, right? So we did 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 and 6. So it's just incredible. Something like that. I'll have to go back and
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm behind.
But it's so, honestly, it is so relevant to what's going on in the world today. But again, it's not getting caught in that fear, or in that you don't know what fear, and this spirit, or that mindset of poverty, or that mindset of isolation. These are all things that, that in this book, the devil's outwitting us to capture our hearts and take us away from our goal, right?
Yeah.
So it is, honestly, for something written in 1920, it is pretty cool, right? Yeah. But
it just speaks to that humanity in all of us.
It does.
That fear that we tend to fall into, and that's whatever realm you want to call it. It's the devil's realm. It's the negativity part of us.
Yeah. I found it very interesting that, he, in the interview, he specifically tells Napoleon how he can be defeated and how he can win. Not him, but Napoleon, how he can win. And then Napoleon fell prey to it anyways, because this was not released till 2011.
Yeah.
The message in the interview was not released until 2011, because either his wife or him fell in fear of condemnation. So
yeah,
it's cool.
Very, very interesting read. It's kind of funny, because it's that little things in life that just remind you of how good you have it. My husband worked night shift last night. Just a little story. My husband worked night shift last night and came in, and I was already awake when he came in, and I was just kind of lying there, in bed, thinking I was trying. No, I was trying to. Don't do that. I'm trying to get, I have a kind of a little routine now, and before I get up in the morning, that I just stop and I close my eyes, and I'm awake, but I just go through the things that I'm grateful for really, really quickly. Mm-hmm. Grateful that I'm awake, because 150,000 people die every day. So yes, I'm grateful that I made it to another day. Grateful for my life. Grateful the fact that I have a warm bed. Grateful that I have food in the kitchen. You know, all these different things, my children, the health, and everything else. My husband comes in. He can't read my mind. So he just sees me laying there with my hands like kind of on my chest. And he's like, what, are you praying to God? I'm like, well, kinda. He's like, okay, fine, you know, whatever. So we start chit-chatting. And he says, you know, oh, this guy in the parking lot was doing some scratch tickets, and he scratched $250,000, and he's supposed to retire next year. And he went in and he said, I'm done work. I'm not coming in tonight. And he says, my husband says, you know, I really wish that would happen to me. And I'm like, yeah, honey, I know we all kind of wish that we had that, whatever, and everything else. But I mean, even in my darkest times, and I had next to nothing, being a single mom and everything else, I always was very grateful for the little things in life. And then I said to him, I said, and then I got you. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm pretty good. I'm like, well, whatever. Kind of thing. But I was trying to get that point about, you know, being grateful for what we have at this point to express that whole universal thing of being able to have things come back to you. You know, so being grateful for the fact that the bills are paid this month, and being grateful for the fact that we were able to put gas in the car for you to get to work, and being thankful for the fact that you have a job, because sometimes life can be really shitty. And when we start spiraling down, that's that fear, that's that maybe devil or whatever really feeding into our negativity and our that fear again of what we don't have, what we, you know, what we're always longing for, what everybody else has, you know, comparing ourselves. Yeah, it was a kind of a, yeah, it was just a little story that I had anyways, but it's just something that people have a tendency, and I remind myself, I mean, nobody's perfect. I have to remind myself a lot of times that I have to start again. I have to come back to the base where I am grateful for the fact that I can do this kind of stuff on the computer, that I'm grateful and about the fact that, you know, the air feels so nice and crisp on your face, or the sun is shining. It's not today, but, you know, all these little things that a lot of people forget. And because they're always, like you said, jonesing for something else, they're always thinking that something's coming at them that's going to be bad, or we're living in some really crazy times. And if we let that fear and that anxiety and that negativity that we are all living right now get to us, then it will get to us. It will cause us to spiral downwards. But understanding and thinking about, okay, so what are the good things that we can get out of a big crisis like we're going through right now, which is so important for our mental health. I know we're coming into that Bell special day or whatever it is later this week. But it's not just one day. We're going into almost a full year of this now, really trying to, you know, work around the struggles of mental health and finding a little bit of joy and gratitude in some crazy, crazy, crazy ass times. So, yeah.
True. We have to keep that light and lightheartedness in us, because it's that negativity and that worry that will again start that aging process to accelerate even more. Right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
It'll be nice to get, once we can get back in, or if you would like a private consultation. I'm sitting on the Sequex. You can see it behind me here today. So I've done my anti-inflammatory program. I'm going to do some cell rejuvenation, some microcirculation, so it picks me up.
I'm doing my inflammatory program by drinking coffee.
Yeah, you have to stop that. You only
have
one.
There's only one coffee, and it's pretty weak. I'm rationalizing now.
Are you? Well, it's the 80-20. It's the 80-20 rule, right? You still have to enjoy something that brings you joy.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And if it's a beautiful, fresh cup of coffee with beautiful steamy milk, or frothed, or just black, and just have that little beautiful espresso would be so good right now with the beautiful crema on top. Beautiful little, it's delicious.
Mm.
I love coffee. But yes.
It was given to us for a reason. And so,
Yes.
you know, it's not to be abused like anything else in life, but
Mhm.
to be enjoyed. And as one of the gifts that we've been given, coffee's one of them. I'm going to take advantage of it.
Well, in some
Unless it's really, really bad for you. I
yeah,
mean,
I mean, there are antioxidants in coffee, but it's the 5th cup or the 3rd cup for people that it starts to whoop, switch gear. But
yeah, you really get yourself like if you
organic, good
yeah,
coffee.
if you're a coffee lover and you're trying to get rid of coffee or whatever, get yourself a real treat and get some nice organic. What was it? The bullet coffee I bought for a while was a nice organic, freshly, ground up coffee. That stuff is so smooth and so beautiful and just like, oh, it's like silk going down your throat. It's just like, wow. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, but it's like something like wine because I know a lot of people like our wine, especially women our age. I mean, lots of people like wine, but nowadays, wine doesn't like me. So I mean, you really have to have that balance of understanding. Okay, so yeah, I do like to have a little bit of. I like a rosé, but understanding
But
that
is
if
it
it
the
doesn't.
wine or is it the sugars?
Oh, well, that's the thing. Like maybe I have
Right?
to start looking for some
So
organic wines
it's
or
funny
something
in
like that, or because I
in
don't like dry wine, so that's the thing. So
oh, so well, then you're not drinking enough wine.
no,
Progressed onto drier
but it
wine.
just, I
No,
mean,
but it's more than likely the sugar aspect of things, right? So,
perhaps, yeah.
um, in the mailbox, I'm not sure if everyone got it, but I got it and I sat by the fire and read it and then enjoyed it and then threw it in the fire. But they actually have new varieties of low sugar. So you're down to 3 grams per bottle of sugar, or all these new varieties of wine with low to no sugar. So it's amazing that they're recognizing this aspect. And again, it can be is the sugars in homemade wine, is the sugars the same as this old age process? But it also is about being a nouveau wine where it's less sulfites as well and less preservatives. So
Well, that's the
drink
one of the
drink
things.
the wine, grab the organics, don't savor it, use it as part of your downtime or you're sitting at the meal, but don't drink the bottle. Well, my grandpa would say throw away the cork, but
It's
that's the way
open.
he
I
lived
mean,
his life. He was 98. I
it's
said, I
only it's
said,
only two
Grandpa,
and a half glasses, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, it is. Just a, just
Kind of the size
anyways.
of glass.
And I said, Grandpa, what is the key to your success? Like, what's your longevity? He says, you throw away the cork.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah,
It
you just
works for
start
some
something, finish
people,
it.
but
Yep, start it, finish it. So what can you say? He's 98, right?
there
So
you go. And that's the whole thing. I mean, you got to find what works for you. Maybe in a little bit of time wine will be working okay for me too, but right now maybe in my body
Mhm.
just doesn't want to have it, or like I said, I have to find some uh organic wine or something like that. But if I have to work really that hard to find something, like, I don't know, my body just doesn't want it right now, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. I still like my coffee. It still does, good for me. I have organic coffee, so I take that in. And like I said, it's just things that you have to find that work good for you, that you're okay with, and still find some joy in.
yeah,
If you're having the wine and it doesn't agree with you, and you end up hungover, and wine will age you faster than anything, anyways. Which is then you get depressed because you look in your mirror and you're like, "What the hell's going on with my face?" Yeah, it's not doing your body any good at that point. So really, are you getting much out of it? It's hard to say. But I
mhm.
mean, if you enjoy, I had a dream about ice cream the other day. I don't even eat dairy, so it was really, maybe I think it was dairy free ice cream. But again, a lot of sugar. I don't know what was going on. I haven't had ice cream in years, but just I don't know what it was. It was just like a weird dream about ice cream. I was craving something, I guess. I don't know. But I used to enjoy ice cream. I don't know. It's the things in life, I guess. I think about the old people a lot. I think about our elders and the generations past, and especially people like the Italians. I'm sure there's other cultures that are the same, but I'm just I don't, for some reason, I go to and I think of the way they ate, the wine, the fresh bread, the cheeses, the meats, the fresh seafoods, the fresh pastas, and it was so extremely simple foods. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of olive oil, and you're good to go. Simple, simple, simple stuff. And they enjoyed life. That was, and they took a nap in the afternoon because it was hot. And, even, people like the Mexicans, they eat very, very simple too. Their food's very amazing. And, they take time to slow down in the middle of the day and relax and enjoy and sit big families around the table to enjoy foods and have wine and, give it to the babies and, all these simple things in life that I don't know if it's just maybe my life that it's missing or it's everybody in general. I don't know these days.
Everyone in general right now wouldn't be having that anyways.
Well, no,
but it is the aspect of the mentality, right?
Yeah.
And it is the mindset of that preparing the table before you, not holding grudges, not having unforgiveness, all of that core foundation aspect, so that your body then can reap the benefits of this aspect. So if you're going to worry a lot, right, like our society, or if you go on a trip, you can eat all the pasta you want, but you come home, you can't eat any pasta. So is it the air? Maybe it's the the more non-GMO, maybe, but it still comes back to what have you set your foundation, right? Reduce inflammation, take care of your stress, and a lot to be said to, it's like you have to be like a duck, like water off a duck's back. You can't hold on to things. And I think that was the success of the previous generations, is that you couldn't, there was no reason or right or any prosperity in worrying, right? Then they would always have those upset stomachs and things like that. But if you're looking at people who have lived a long time, they told it like it was. They water off a duck's back and carried on, right? So it didn't matter the food that they ate so much. And yeah.
So I think a lot of it had to do with gratitude as well too.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people
very grateful.
Very, very grateful. Always, because you never knew where your next meal was coming from. That's my grandpa's favorite saying. So you're grateful for what you have right now. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we don't have food scarcity. I shouldn't say that. There is still food scarcity, but there is not a lack of food, unfortunately, but the accessibility to the food is not available to so many out there, especially in these crazy times. This has given us we end up stepping back and going, wow, there's lots of, we're not going to worry about it so much. So we're not really that grateful for a lot of the food, or how it's prepared, or who prepares it, or where it comes from. What is that one thing that this lady I follow, she says all the time, that we can live without doctors, we can live without somebody else, politicians, government, but the one thing that we can't live without is a farmer.
No, you can't.
So we always have to be very, very grateful from where our food is coming. So yeah,
it's very true.
So maybe we should end it there, because I think we're kind of, I don't know, I've lost my train of thought. What are you doing to protect yourself? So think about that today and let us know, because I would like to know. And why are you doing the things that you do to protect yourself? Are you doing the right things for your health journey as well too? So understanding why you're eating the greens that you're eating, understanding why you're taking dairy out of your food, you're eating, and why you're going for walks. Do you understand? Are you grateful for where you are right now? Are you grateful for the people around you? And getting all those aspects into your being very consciously these days because we have become so unconscious that we've lost a lot of that stuff. So really coming.
And what are you filling your mind with?
Yeah, exactly. Are you allowing that fear to seep in and take over and take you away from what and who you are at your core, which is pure love, and getting back to that wholeness of who you are as and the gratefulness of it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll leave it at that, and we will connect with you guys again tomorrow. Love you
Have a
guys
good day, everyone.
so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.